When you have a feeling, you think, I've got a feeling, I just drink it, Netflix it, shop it, eat it, drug it. It would just regroup and come back stronger and stronger. You got to feel your feeling. Mm-hmm. That it no longer requires to be felt. And when you understand what the feeling is telling you, then it's a whole different world. Everyone talks themselves every day. The difference is you learn to talk to yourself better.
Yeah. I think I'm that one where I do it over and over and over and over, and then I'm thinking, okay, this isn't working. And then all of a sudden I look up and I'm listen, shit.
It's working.
I have been so positive, and I have been on fire, and I've been free, and I've been everything that I wanted to program my mind with. So really your brain is a computer. And
it's
you can program it to do whatever you want.
And like all computers, the thing with your brain is it's always switched on, and it records everything. The way you feel about everything is down to two things: the pictures you make in your head and the words you say to yourself. So if you watch people on a roller coaster, are they screaming because they're happy or terrified? Who knows? The mind doesn't even know, actually. But if you say, I'm excited and this is thrilling, or I'm terrified and I hate it, you actually will get the same response. You can even just change the words and not the pictures, because the words create the picture. So imagine you had to go on stage or go for an audition or go for an assessment with your boss. You go, oh my God, I'm so scared and it's going to be terrible. I know I'm going to break out in a sweat, and I know when he asks me a question, I'm going to open my mouth and go, oh. Mm-hmm. Or you can go, I'm excited. This is my opportunity to show him who I am and what I can do for this company. I've got 20 minutes on my own with the boss to present him some ideas I have. I'm excited. Your mind doesn't question that. So you can be excited or nervous. You can be terrified or ecstatic. They kind of feel the same. Your mind loves what is familiar and doesn't like what's unfamiliar. And if it could, it would keep you in the familiar and avoid the unfamiliar. That's actually unfortunate, except you can make anything you want familiar. People who've never had praise and it's unfamiliar, if you say to them, hey, Tony, I loved your talk. They'd go, it's terrible. Didn't you notice? I missed something important? No. So not only do they have to reject the praise, they've got to add in the criticism, because that's what their life was. No praise. A lot of
people do that
tons
too,
of criticism. Yep. You say to them, I love your show. They go, I've had it for 5 years, got a hole in it. As a hand-me-down. Or you say, I hear you got a prize at work for the best salesman. Yeah, that's because the other guy was sick. So they reject praise and add in criticism because it's familiar. And I have to teach them, okay, I want you to praise yourself. You think I ask them to have a root canal, but I make them praise themselves, because there's nothing that will build your self-esteem like praise. Mm-hmm. And you can make anything familiar and anything unfamiliar. But you got to understand that your mind is wired to run back. So I work with people who go, I only date losers. I don't know why that is, but that's what I attract. If you push them to the goal, I did meet somebody really nice, but I couldn't see them again. Why not? They were too good for me. I went, their behavior was unfamiliar. But if you stay with them, it'll become familiar.
Words are so powerful. Sometimes we're just talking. We don't even realize what's coming out, because our subconscious is taking over. Because that's 95% of what you say and do is it's your subconscious. You're on autopilot. And so that's what this is part of. Reprogramming. Your hypnotherapy is about reprogramming that subconsciousness. Yeah. But the people who haven't done that yet realize what you're saying is affecting not just you, it's also your family and your friends and your environment.
And I find that my clients are the unhappiest use very unhappy language. It's a nightmare. My kid drives me insane. My boss is killing me. This commute, it makes me want to die. And it's not that. If it's take a while and think about it. Do you use those words, killing me, every day? I want to die. I'm dying under the pressure. The stress is killing me. I see that with so many parents who go, my kid, oh my God, I want to kill myself. I want to jump off a bridge. And that isn't true. So you just change my kid is a challenge. But they grow up really fast. Mm-hmm. My boss is a nightmare for everyone, but I can deal with him. This customer is difficult, but they're the ones that teach me the most. So you can have exactly the same situation you ever had, but if you change how you talk about it, even to yourself, the situation will change. If you go, my kid is a nightmare,
Yeah.
They drive me insane.
I use that all the time.
And you start to say, my kids are a challenge.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
I got to change it.
You got the same kid, the same situation, but you feel better because you start to say, they're a challenge. But that comes with the territory.
Yeah.
You want to have, the only people who have kids that are not a challenge are people who don't have kids, who have introverted kids. It is difficult to have challenging kids, but they're the best kids to have because they challenge bullies. They challenge people who say, let's go shoplifting or take drugs. They go, I'm not doing that. Yeah. So be thankful you got the challenging ones because they can stand up for themselves. If they can stand up to you, they'll stand up to a bully. If you go, don't you dare speak back, and you sit in the corner and be quiet, then they'll be surprised when they come home and someone's persuaded them to do things you don't want them to do because you told them not to have an opinion.
You got to talk to my wife sometimes because she's I love to hear how she talks about me. Speaking of relationships, that's last subject I want to talk to you about. People talk about the one. What does that mean? And is there the one person out there for everybody?
I see that in LA. People say to me, I need to find my twin flame. And it's like, oh, stop it. Stop looking for your twin flame. The person you're going to meet is nothing like you. They'll irritate you and challenge you. And if you look for someone who's perfect, you're going to be disappointed. But people have this strange belief, especially women. They think, I'm going to sit at home and watch TV and this guy's going to turn up. No one says I'm going to find a job by staying in the house. I'm going to get fit by staying in the house. If you want a job, you go out and get it. You want to get fit, you go out and get it. But with love, we just think it's going to turn up and you have to be a bit proactive. I worked with a girl, very pretty. Dad left home and she said, I can't find love. I said, listen, where'd you go? I go to yoga. Well, why would you look for love in a yoga class? There's no men in there. Or they go to book clubs or they go to women's groups. I'm like, you need to go to golf wearing very tight leggings and look amazing and you'll be married in a year. And she was. Because, if you want to find love and you're a woman, go to a poker club. If you want to find love and you're a guy, go to a hairdressing convention downtown. And people are not smart about love. They go, oh, I can't find anyone. But they're in the wrong place. Or they go to a bar where everyone looks just like them. Or they don't understand. Or they go, no, I just want someone gorgeous. It's like, no, that's not important. Look for someone kind and funny and anything you can spend your whole life with. They go, oh, the sex, I don't even like this, but the sex is amazing. I said, well, that's never going to last. So being with someone because the sex blows your mind is a bit of a tragedy because when it wears off, you've got nothing left. And so the thing with love is you have to be, first of all, proactive. In fact, no. The most important thing, in fact, the only thing you need to do to find love is to believe you're lovable. First, you got to go, I'm lovable. I deserve love. I'm worthy of love. And it's very hard because women hear all this, I got to have fat hair and a thin butt. And I've got a fat butt and thin hair, so therefore I'm not lovable. That's just so not true. First, you decide, I am lovable. I'm lovable just the way I don't have to take anything away or add anything on. There's nothing to be snipped off or shoved in to make me lovable. I am lovable now. And once you can believe you're lovable, once you can actually fall in love with yourself, which is quite easy, just go, hey, there you are. I love you. You're kind, you're funny, you're warm, you're lovely. First of all, you go, no, I'm not. I've got cellulite. Or, so what? You're still amazingly lovable. And if you keep saying it, your mind will let it in because you're objecting and you run out of objections. Then you feel lovable. Then you give the whole world consent to realize you're lovable. Because you're going to spend your whole life with you. The longest relationship is with you. You might as well spend it really loving yourself. It's the beginning of a romance that never disappoints you, never goes away. And then when you've done that, put yourself in front of the opposite sex or the same sex, if that's what you like, and you'll find love within a year easily. Will
that help you from avoiding the same toxic relationship? I have a lot of friends, and I've seen it throughout my life. Sometimes it's like, okay, I leave one bad relationship and I go to the next bad relationship. I had a little theory on this. I want to test it out on you. I think it's a reflection of you
Well,
the person that you end up with. If people are like, okay, I keep finding the same person. I'm like, well, maybe you have to change yourself because you're going to keep attracting the same person.
You're completely correct. If you think you're not lovable, your belief is I'm going to get dumped.
Well, nobody says I'm not lovable.
No, but they feel it. They believe it. Am I okay? Do I look? Are you sure? Mm-hmm. Could you come into my life and make me feel better? And you see these people who don't really believe they're loved, and they say to the other person, please love me. Could you love me? Sometimes they go, sure, yeah. And then they go, I don't want to love you, I'm bored now. Or they might go, no, not at all. So if you give someone the permission to make you feel good, they can make you feel bad. Of course, somebody can enhance it. So if you feel unlovable, if you feel not enough, the scourge of the modern world, because we're told you're enough if you're tall, if your breasts are up here, if you've got a six-pack, if you wear designer labels, if you've got a nice house, if you've got a nice car, if you haven't got that, you're not enough. So we buy into it, and then we try to find someone to make us feel enough, knowing that we're not enough. If you think you're not enough, your belief is, I'm going to get dumped. So if I pick a loser, well, they just dump me early. I don't have to prolong the pain. So imagine I don't think I'm good enough. I've got to find a guy who also thinks I'm not good enough and is also not good enough. And then that's going to end early. But if I found someone amazing and they left me, I go, no, I'm not good enough because that great guy left me. But that idiot, alcoholic, well, he wasn't good enough for anybody anyway. So attracting toxic people is less painful because it's never going to work out. So I mean, it's simply, I only like married people. It's like, yeah, because they're not available to you. Mm-hmm. You have a belief that love isn't available, so you have a wild affair with someone who's married and it all goes wrong because that's what you expected. Mm-hmm. If you think love isn't available, you're not going to put yourself in front of some amazing quality person who could love you, because if they left you, that would hurt so much more than some loser in a bar who prefers drink to you. So that's one thing. But the second thing, and it's that familiar, unfamiliar, my dad was critical, dismissive alcoholic, and I seem to like critical, dismissive alcoholics. That's who I go out with all the time. Because what you're doing, it's so frustrating, is you're recreating what's familiar and trying to change the ending. I'm going to find an alcoholic and straighten him out. I'm going to find a distant person, make them love me, and then my cold, critical mother has become this lovely person. My absent, critical dad has become this pussycat. So we're so busy creating what was familiar to change the ending. I'm like, no, change the beginning. Decide you're lovable. When you've really let that sink in, go out and put yourself in front of a quality person, you probably end up with them. Because you've got to change the beginning, not the ending. The ending is find someone from like your mum or dad and try to make them love you. The beginning is believe you're lovable and find someone who agrees with you. So much easier.
How do you avoid that loser, though? Like you say, how do you recognize that? What's the quickest way to go, okay, if and I'm talking the very first hour, can you recognize that in somebody right away and go, you know what, this person
You can. So I worked with this really amazing guy, a very successful. And he said that when he was a kid, he went to show his mother something he'd written. She went, darling, you might be 6. Please remember I'm not. I find you so boring. I'm too intelligent to be a parent. You bore me. He said, I never forgot that. I'm like, well, whoever would. And guess what kind of women he liked? Super smart women that made him feel stupid. And when I pointed that out to him, and he told me that about his mother and always telling him that she was too intelligent to deal with him and he had a nanny and she never wanted to be around him, he understood. I said, look, now you've got a lesson. Every time you meet a woman and you hear that voice in your head go, oh, I feel a bit stupid with her, move on. There's hundreds of women. You could have anybody. I mean, he owned a club. I mean, it's like out of all the people that could find women, they're in your place where you work, the business you own. So one question, how do I feel? And he said, you know, it's so amazing. He said, I asked myself that question and I met a couple of women and I just walked away. But the third one I met, I remember thinking, I feel really smart. He said, I married her. Actually, I went to his wedding. And he said, I would never be marrying her if it wasn't for you. Just that one little question. And the same thing with women. How do you feel? If your feeling is, I don't feel attractive enough or interesting enough, move on. And when the answer is, I feel good about myself with this person, then you can date them. So be selective. It's not like there isn't enough people. There's thousands of people to date.
Yeah. Just be honest, right? Just
be honest like, hey, with
you
yourself.
Know what? This person just made me feel stupid or insulted me. And even though they try to play it off.
And people say, oh, I knew he was bad news, but I carried on seeing him because I thought I could change him. I knew that woman would leave me, but I stayed with her anyway because I thought I could persuade her to stay. You know, stop changing them.
Yeah.
You can't change another person.
Quit trying to fix them or change them, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way. Why this practice over medicine?
70% of people going to the emergency room, 2/3 of all people going to their doctor have problems that are psychosomatic. Psychosomatic means the pain is real. If I have a psychosomatic migraine or a psychosomatic tremor, it's real, but my mind is causing it, not a diseased organ. And doctors will say, you know, 70% of people in the ER, they can't fix them because it's not a diseased organ. It's diseased thinking. You know, we're not machines that are broken that need fixing. We have thoughts that need fixing, and medicine isn't really designed to do that. You know, I train many doctors in RTT. I've trained a lot of psychiatrists. I've trained surgeons. They will say, you know, we see this all the time, but we don't know how to fix it. So we have bulimics coming in, anorexics, and we force feed them and we weigh them. We say, okay, you can't have your phone till you gain 5 pounds. And we know that they're going to leave, starve, come back. It's a revolving door because we're treating the symptom and not the cause. You're depressed, let me give you some pills. One of my clients said, you know, I was so depressed I couldn't have sex with my husband. They gave me medication. I still can't have sex with him. I don't care now because I'm numb. That's not good. So I'm about what I call what lies beneath. I always say to somebody, look, you know, the presenting problem, it's not even the problem. You got to look for what lies beneath. We train all of our students. We've trained like 3,000 to look for what is going on underneath. And if you treat the root, it will never come back. But you can't treat symptoms. And that's why, you know, medicine, if you break your leg, medicine's a wonderful thing. If you want to deliver a baby, it's a wonderful thing. But if you have depression or panic attacks or anxiety, you can't really medicate that because you're medicating feelings, and feelings are the most real thing you have, and they're trying to tell you something. When you have a feeling, you think, I've got a feeling, I just drink it, Netflix it, shop it, eat it, drug it. It would just regroup and come back stronger and stronger. You got to feel your feeling. That it no longer requires to be felt. And when you understand what the feeling is telling you, then it's a whole different world.
Do people have a hard time understanding that? I mean, what's the biggest misconception of hypnotherapy that you've seen?
Oh, that someone's going to wave a magic wand and you're going to go into a trance and be made to do what you don't want to do, which is not possible. Or that, you know, they're going to...
because people have seen the stuff on stage, act like a dog, and every time you hear this noise, you're going to jump up and down.
1 in 10 people are very suggestible, and the same person who will have a drink and act completely out of character and find that drink makes them relax and do wild, crazy things, they're the 1 in 10 who go up on stage in a show and volunteer because they want to be someone else for half an hour. They make very good actors, very good comedians, but that's only 1 in 10. And I love that 1 in 10 because they are a dream to work with. But the other 90% are good too. So the thing with RTT is that we do something called role, function, purpose. And I ask people in hypnosis, I want you to tell me the role of the depression. They'll say, oh, I don't have to go to work. What's the role of your illness? And even children of 5, I worked with a little kid who had eczema everywhere. And I said, you know, darling, this is a funny question, I know, but you're really smart and you're going to answer it for me because you must set the client up for success. I always say to my clients, you're so clever, you're going to get this. You're so smart, you're going to know this immediately. I'm talking to their mind. I'm bypassing their conscious. I'm talking to the subconscious, which goes, yeah, okay. And then I said to this little kid, so if eczema was your friend, how would it help you? And you said, well, every night I stand like that. Mummy puts cream and wet bandage on me. She doesn't put any cream on that baby. And at 5, he understood that he'd seen Mummy massage the baby. And he said, Mummy, I want that. She goes, don't be silly, you're a big boy. You don't need that. But Mummy, I want you to massage me. No, I'm busy. You had a massage when you were a baby. Now you're a big boy. And of course, he said it to his mind, I want the massage. I want that. And the mind's job is to do anything and everything to give that kid what he asked for. Now he's got eczema. He's getting cream put on him every night. Uh-huh. And if only doctors could say to people, and one day they will, before I give you this prescription, can I just ask you, silly question, but if your illness had a role or a function or an intention, let's play a game. What could it be? And they'll tell you, well, nobody looks at me because I'm big. I could have been a successful actress, but, I got really heavy and then I lost the part. But what there is, but then I never had to cope with the fact that I might not have been good enough. I coulda, woulda, shoulda. But then I got the depression. I worked with a girl who had such chronic migraine. She had 40 injections in her head every month. When I talked to her, she said, my dad wants me to be a barrister. I don't want to do that. And he's told me all my life, you're going to take over the family firm. But when I got the headaches, he went, oh, you could never be a barrister now. You'd be lucky if you could be a waitress. And then she was free. And then when I fixed the headache, she became a DJ, what she'd always wanted to be. Uh-huh. But the headaches had a role. She couldn't say to her dad, I don't want this, because he wanted it for us so much. Mm-hmm. So often, people don't understand that when they were 4, 3, 2, 7, they asked for the illness, not consciously, please make me ill, but it's like saying I need attention. Uh-huh. Or I need no attention, I need to not be seen. And I worked with this girl who had this terrible skin condition. She used to burn if she went out in daylight, and you can imagine what her life was. She was a coach because she worked from home on a computer. And when I went back, she said that she got really bullied at school. And her mum went, look, I can't help you. We have no dad. I'm a single parent. You got to go to school. You're going to deal with it. I can't help you. Just get on with it. And she said, I thought a thought. I want to be at home forever. And every time she got bullied, she'd think, I just want to be at home and never leave. And then she got this skin condition where she couldn't leave the house. Mm-hmm. And that's how the mind is. If you say, I want to never leave the house, I want to stay at home, when you're 8, that sounds thrilling. Be at home with the TV and ice cream. I don't have to go to school. Those kids are horrible to me. But the mind can't later switch that off. So the mind created this burning skin. She couldn't leave the house. Mm-hmm. And it was very useful. When she was 42, she still had it. And it was not useful at all. And when they go back, they have what I call the aha moment. Oh my God, of course. When I was 6, I unconsciously wanted this. Wow. When I was 15, I said, if I get pregnant, my dad will kill me. It will ruin my life. And now I'm 35 and I can't get pregnant. Because I said to my mind, it would be the end of the world. It would be a nightmare. My dad will kill me if I get pregnant. And I never went back and undid that. And that's what we do. We go back and we unpick stuff and we undo it. We make sense of it. And then we change the beginning and the ending.
Well, I'm ready. You want to
do
something with me?
Of course.
All right. This is exciting. Scary, but exciting.
No, it's never scary.
I know. I'm talking about.
I know.
It's so scary how your thoughts really, you really do create your reality with your thoughts.
But it doesn't have to be scary, because if they're your thoughts and you think them, then you can change them.
Yeah.
Someone else's thoughts, but your thoughts.
For the people out there, well, for me, like I used to be, like sometimes I would create situations. That's really where my life took off, when you can finally figure out how to articulate to yourself what you want. Yeah. And do that daily for at least 30 days, like you said.
Well, here's the thing.
Very powerful stuff.
Say I am. For everyone listening to this, say I am. I am amazing. I am significant. I am lovable. I am enough. Because the words that go after I am go after you. So say that and then start to go, I'm a loser. I am boring. I'm nothing of interest. I'm useless. And you see, your mind doesn't really care what you tell it. So if you want to feel good, just I am. Yeah. And add to it, I am amazing. I'm amazing at marketing my skills. I am talented. I'm attracting wealth. I'm a wellness-making machine. Or I'm always sick. I'm always sick. Every time the weather changes, I get ill. I've got a terrible immune. I'm always ill. Or I am a wellness-making machine.
Yeah.
So you can say all the negative things. I'm boring. I'm stupid. I'm fat. I'm lazy. I'm destructive. And then cross them out And just find the opposite of that. What would be the opposite of lazy? I'm motivated. What's the opposite of self-sabotaging? I'm motivated. What's the opposite of I'm a loser? I'm a winner.
Yeah.
Just flip it over and start to say the opposite. It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Since you're already saying the negative words, how can it be scary to say the positive ones? Your life might change on a dime. You might get what you want. You might wake up and think, wow, I love my life.
Yeah, and that's what's happened to me.
Yeah, and me.
And just, by the way, this is what I do all the day. I do that in the mornings before even my head gets off that pillow. It's I don't even open my eyes. I will start going through these affirmations. I am joyful. I am fulfilled. I am happy. And then before I go to sleep, it's kind of like that. I'll do it sometimes during the day or meditate.
Yeah.
So those things I'm talking about for the people out there, because I remember when I always did that for football.
Yeah.
But I couldn't transfer that off the field. That's why I went to go see you. But now I've been realizing that I can do that in every part of my life. Yeah. It does not matter. It's not limited just to what I want to create from a job standpoint. Yeah. I can do that with my wife. I can do that with my kids. I can do that with anything that I want to do. And it's powerful, powerful stuff.
Yeah. And also, it's a really good idea. You do it when you wake up, go, I love my day.
Yeah.
I love this cup of coffee. It's sensational. I love the shower gel. It's my favorite fragrance. Because if you can start to celebrate little tiny things, your brain starts to feel like every day is Christmas. And then big things are just like amazing. So it's really good to vibrate at that frequency of starting the first, just going, because, you just think, oh my God, this coffee is amazing. This shower gel smells good. I love to hear my kids laugh. I'm in a car driving to work. How lucky am I? Because it's, oh my God, the traffic on the 405. But if someone hasn't got a car, that is their fantasy dream come true. You whine about your kids. Someone else would sell their house to have a kid. You moan about your partner. Someone else would love the partner to moan about.
Yeah.
You moan about your job, your commute, your hours, but someone else would love that. And we've both been to downtown Jamaica. I've been to Cuba. I've been to Mexico. And you think, oh my God, we have no problems. It's very easy to moan about our life. But if you could remember that wherever you are, someone else would probably swap places with you tomorrow, and your problem is their fantasy.
Yeah.
Helps you get in perspective. But if you're really suffering, you don't have to do that, but just do the I am.
Yeah. Yeah. And to the cynical people out there listening, because there are cynical people out there. Of them. It's not it kind of is that you fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Because eventually you'll start to buy in to what you're saying. And by the way, the byproduct of all this way of thinking, yes, you will go out there and achieve your dreams, but it feels good in the process. It's just a good way to treat yourself. Like all that anger and envy and jealousy, stuff, or frustration, whatever that we all go through. It just makes you feel better. It's like that. At the very least, you're gonna feel better, whether you believe in this or not. It's a good feeling to be positive with yourself. So that's why I always tell people.
Everything you want is because of how it's going to make you feel. You want to win the lottery because of how it makes you feel. Well, obviously, that was the worst thing that happened to me. You want to find love. Everything you want in life is because of how it makes you feel. And when you can feel it without even getting the stuff, you've won. And then you'll get the stuff as well.
Okay, final questions. What is the number one thing couples can do to elevate their relationship?
Give 100%. A lot of people say, I'll give 50% and you give 50%. And that doesn't work. You've got to give 100%. Praise the other person a lot. Praise. Nothing will grow your self-esteem like praise. Nothing will wither it but like criticism. And the thing that makes a relationship last is respect and praise.
We're going to get into some other things too.
Okay.
Here. Are you spiritual? Do you?
Yeah.
Are
very
you
much
God
so.
or higher belief or anything like that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Very much so.
Do you meditate or anything like that?
Well, I do hypnosis, and that's such a profound meditation. I used to do Wayne Dyer's meditation. I loved it, but I'm so into RTT. I'm always writing it, recording new stuff, and that, for me, that's the best meditation.
Are you a lover of food?
Yeah.
Meaning?
Yes.
Question we always ask on here, because I love this question. What is your final meal?
Oh, my final meal would probably be
We got to go all out. It could be unhealthy.
No, it would be a combination. I'd have fish.
Go for it.
And vegetables. I'd have chocolate, and I'd have my grandmother's pear crumble with custard on it.
There it is.
And hot chocolate with marshmallows on it, all stuff from my childhood. Check out my next video here. Your mind doesn't care if what you tell it is good or bad, right or wrong, healthy or unhealthy. It just believes it. So who likes to have proof that everything I'm saying is true? Stand up and let's have a little bit of proof.